Welcome to A Cup Full with myself, too.All, a safe, honest, and open space that aims to help you navigate healing, growth, and just overall prioritizing your well-being. It is guaranteed to get uncomfortable for sure and very vulnerable, but more than anything else, an opportunity to enjoy the peace that comes with working on yourself. Here's to filling your cup up. Hi community, welcome to a new week and a new episode of A Cup Full. Thank you so much for joining me. We are once again stepping into being very intentional about tending to our well-being by being here and being present. In this week's episode, we are going to delve right into a little bit of a build into last week's episode, but mostly about really staying focused on pouring into the growth of the important things in our lives and to stop seeking the easy way out. I really like the saying the grass isn't always greener on the other side, which is very, very true. Things are not always as they seem, but it is very easy to believe that they are because as people, we only really show each other what we feel comfortable with showing, which is mostly the presentable, desirable, and most put together things on social media and in real life. Very few people are honest and vulnerable about what their reality actually is, which is just one of the many reasons why I always say it's important to focus on your own individual life and journey so that what other people are showing you doesn't become a reality that you want, so that your envy doesn't end up driving you to do some really out of pocket things to have what other people have, especially because you don't actually know what that person or those people go through in their lives every single second of the day. You aren't them. You aren't present in that way in their lives. You might follow them on social media, but the relationship that you have with them is non-existent actually. You don't know them. You don't know them like that. So please don't put yourself in a position where you don't want to walk your own journey or live your own life in real time because if it doesn't look as appealing as the next person's does. In last week's episode, I spoke about sticking around for your process to get to your own unique purpose. I spoke briefly about that when I was talking about taking 1,000,000 chances on yourself, taking as many chances as you need to, which will often look like facing the challenges and waiting patiently, even when it seems like nothing is coming together, when you have knocked on many doors and not a single one has opened for you. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, please go and give it a listen and just to understand better what I'm talking about right now. But I was speaking about the fact that we really need to allow ourselves, speak to ourselves in a way where we are allowing ourselves and in a way also holding ourselves accountable. And a way to hold yourself accountable is to ask yourself, if I'm not going to stick this out, then who is? I also mentioned that processes are often challenging and they are meant to refine and prepare you, which isn't something you should want to avoid because there are plenty of lessons for you to learn. So much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding you are meant to acquire. These are all very valuable for the long term in your life. We all need to see our processes through because number one, it's your process, it's your life. Those are your lessons to learn. But number two, there's so much value in sticking around for the challenges in your life and not wanting to jump ship. Because when you stick around, you learn very important lessons, you learn very valuable lessons, and you are going to be able to apply them in the future. Our lives are quite long. We go through different chapters in our lives. Your 20s are not going to look like your 30s. Your 30s are not going to look like your 40s. What I'm trying to get at is our chapters are different in our lives, and a lot of the times when we allow ourselves to learn the lessons and go through the processes, we are able to apply ourselves when we reach the other chapters or other seasons in our lives, seasons that require us to apply ourselves. So what's going to happen when you need certain knowledge and you need certain wisdom and a certain kind of understanding, but you just didn't allow yourself to go through the processes that you needed to in the previous seasons in your life? What are you going to apply? Because there's nothing to apply because you have nothing to apply. So I'm very much I'm always going to be for sticking around for your own individual process. You need to tend to your own grass, and grass here is life. And being completely present in it is so important. Your relationships, friendships, career, finances, your goals and dreams, personal development, the kinds of experiences you want to create for yourself. In the title, I use the word sometimes, because sometimes the grass is green on the other side, 100%. If you are not getting what you want and need out of your romantic relationship, then it is probably time to move on. If you feel you have tried really hard to communicate with your significant other and you've been patient without much success, then the grass is probably going to be greener where your needs and wants are going to be met. For sure. So go there and do not hesitate. If your career is not fulfilling and a lot of how you feel is unhappy, and you already know that what you actually want to pursue is going to make you excited about work, that's a perfect example of the grass being green on the other side. Pursue that with all of your heart. When you can feel it in your heart and mind that the environments or spaces you are spending your time in are draining you more than anything, or more than they are adding to you, and you can already see or even feel where you would thrive the most, then there it is. The grass is greener where you are the most fulfilled and at peace, where your growth and healing aren't stifled, where you do not feel like you need to give up parts of yourself so that you are a lot more palatable. Where the grass is green is where you experience freedom and contentment to the absolute fullest. It shouldn't be the easy way out, the quick option you pick when you are experiencing challenges in your romantic relationship or in your friendship. Also, when I speak of challenges, I mean the ones such as having difficult conversations, dealing with financial constraints, sharing perspectives that are very different, and then having to find a way to meet each other halfway. I think you get the gist of what I'm talking about. It isn't the convenient route to take when you feel inconvenienced. A keyword being inconvenienced here. It's not a quick fix. When you are looking into other people's lives and what you are perceiving what they have or what they are showing you to be the better end of the stick, that's not necessarily the grass being greener. I think it's more of not feeling content with your own life, and so it begins to show in how you are envious of other people's lives. And there's a huge difference between being inspired and saying, oh my goodness, I am so happy for this person and it's amazing that they are doing so well for themselves. I'd really like this for myself too, so I'm going to put my best foot forward. There's a difference between that and then saying, oh my goodness, I actually don't really like my life. I don't like where I'm at. This is unfair. I'm tired. Look at that other person. They have this and they have that, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to have what they have. And you just feel like it would be much better if you weren't in that particular situation, and you are going to do anything that it takes to get out of it. So that's not really being present in your own life. It's not understanding that your life is your life and it's your journey. It's not you being inspired, it's you being driven by envy. And that's something that we shouldn't be doing. Living in your own life and being present in it means being present even when things are not easy. It means being present even through the challenges. It means not living a life that is led by envy and jealousy and thinking that every single person is your competition. I was watching an episode titled The Cross-Generational Conversation with Michelle Obama on the YouTube channel Revolve. That is REVOLVE for those that are interested in watching it. I was having such an important conversation with Tina Knowles, Angie Martinez, Winnie Harlow, the musician Her, and Kelly Rowland. These are all very successful women of color, but from completely different generations. Michelle Obama, Angie Martinez, who's a podcaster and a very, very, very legendary broadcaster, and Tina Knowles, who is a designer, philanthropist. She's Beyonce and Solange Knowles' mother. They are all from the same generations, from the same time, born and raised in the same times. And then supermodel Winnie Harlow, musician Her, and Kelly Rowland are from what we would call the more recent times. So born in the maybe late 80s, early 90s. I really enjoyed how individuals from completely different times were able to come together and have a relatable, honest, and knowledgeable conversation. I particularly appreciated when Michelle Obama opened up about the 10 years that she spent being very frustrated with her husband. She said she could not stand him because there was just so much going on. They were raising their kids were quite young, and she had to deal with her husband being at a stage where he is really trying to solidify his career. And she's got her own personal challenges, and they're different. Things are very different. Their lives are structured differently. She was saying that marriage is a completely different environment to it just being you and your significant other. There's a lot more freedom, there's a lot more time. Your priorities are very different as well. But now she is married, she has kids, they're quite young, and her husband is in a place where he's really trying to build his career, and she has to make certain sacrifices. And so it was just a lot. A lot was going on in that period, and so she was frustrated with him. Even though it was challenging, she still absolutely loved him, and that everything about him that made him a great partner was still all very much there. That the commitment that they had, or the commitment they had made to each other, was not going to change just because she was annoyed with him. She was annoyed with him, but that did not mean that she stopped loving him. Instead, she saw it as a challenge that could be overcome and not a reason to opt out. The grass probably looked greener at many points in time for Michelle Obama. It could have looked greener. I'm not saying that that's how it was, but it's possible that when she looked into other people's lives, things looked a lot better. But it wasn't something that she was willing to entertain. She knew that she needed to be present in her life. She had responsibilities, a mom, a wife, and somebody who wanted great success for herself. So she understood that it would not be easy, that it would be very challenging, but that's what the territory comes with, the territory of being a mom and a wife and an ambitious woman. From my understanding of what she was saying, the kinds of challenges she spoke of were not life-threatening, and she was not speaking of abuse or her life being in harm's way. She was speaking of things that can be worked on or through. And this conversation caused such a riffraff on social media, especially amongst Black women. The debate started moving in a different direction. A lot of what Michelle Obama had said was taken out of context. She was annoyed with her husband because there were a number of challenges that they were facing, and it was making her feel very annoyed. There were a lot of things that they were going through, that she was going through, and she might have felt like he just didn't understand the way he needed to. And so that irritated her. She was annoyed. But her life wasn't threatened, and she wasn't just sticking around. She was there. She was completely in. She wanted to be there. She was facing some serious obstacles, some challenges. But like I said, she understood that was what the territory came with. And that is what life is. It is a territory that comes with challenges and obstacles. It's not going to be easy a lot of the time. And I always say it's not going to be easy, especially if you are not privileged or you don't have a certain kind of comfort or access to resources. So there are going to be double the challenges. Is it exhausting? Yes. But does that mean that you should want another person's life, another person's reality, because of yours is not the comfortable, luxurious, easy life that you want? No. And we have to work towards those kinds of things, that comfort, that not having to worry when you walk into a shop, that not having to worry when it's time for you to pay for something, that not having to worry about security in your home. Those are things we have to work towards. I'm making examples with the more material things, but it's the same as healing and your overall well-being. You have to work towards those things. They don't just fall into your lap. You need to take accountability for yourself. You need to stop blaming everybody else around you. You need to be willing to be the one to put the first brick down for your own life and for your own well-being. And also, in order to do that, I'm going to say it again, you need to stick around for the process. Back to what Michelle Obama was saying in this conversation, I just went off on a bit of a tangent. She also said she would not give up or change the 30 years that she has been married. When she looks back in the present, those 10 years were a challenge, yes, sure, but they could have not been a reason for her to end her marriage, because she understood that it was a challenge and she needed to face it. Life is challenging, like I said. Process won't be easy, and when all of those things are happening, you should be focused on facing them, not jumping to the side that looks greener from where you are standing. Of course, don't stick around for being used and abused and taken for granted. Let go when you can tell or feel that this one thing is just not meant to be, but don't walk away when you are meant to weather the storm. Don't avoid your responsibilities. You don't avoid your responsibilities. If you are someone that is already paying for a house or a car, or you are buying yourself clothes and toiletries and you're not under your parents' care anymore, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. You cannot avoid those responsibilities. It's the same thing with life and its challenges. Don't try and avoid your responsibilities. Just like how you're not going to miss a payment on rent, or you're not going to miss a payment on your car installment, or you aren't going to miss a submission date if you are in varsity or whatever you are doing. You know what your responsibilities are. Approach life's challenges like that. It is your responsibility to face them. It's your responsibility to go through your process. I think there are a few effective ways to approach tending to your own life and moving your focus away from wanting to constantly look over into other people's lives. Firstly, by making sure that you are intentional about having a mindset that is led by abundance and not by the lack in your life. It's definitely not easy, but most certainly something you should work on, because what you cultivate in the mind influences your actions and choices. In episode 11 of this season, I explain in detail how to get out of the scarcity mindset and into an abundant one. If you haven't listened to it, please go and check it out to get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Secondly, be very careful of what and how much you consume on social media. Beware. Make sure that the people whose content you are watching and liking are positively pouring into you. Please, please, please. Do not expose yourself to things that are going to make you feel like not having certain things makes you less than, or that you have fallen behind in life. Please don't give pictures and videos of strangers that much power over you. It's not worth it. It ends up creating a spirit of envy, and you end up thinking that everybody's your competition, and you are not living your life for you anymore. You're living your life to prove a point. The only person you should be proving anything to is yourself, and that's what you should be focusing on. The third thing would be to stop comparing yourself to other people. I say this all the time. This is your journey, not theirs. So of course what is happening in your life right now will not look like what is happening in other people's lives. You are an individual. I'm never ever going to stop saying this. I strongly believe that the biggest way to live a fulfilling life is to focus on ourselves. Leave what other people are doing alone. I always say, and I said it early on in the episode, it's great to be inspired, but there's a huge difference between being inspired and being envious. When you are inspired, you are able to take notes, you are able to learn from other people, and when you are envious, you want to compete and you are willing to do anything, even if it's outside of your values and your ethics. If you have values and ethics, even if it's outside of your character, even if it's not something that you agree with, you'll do it because you are just so overcome by envy and competing. Lastly, focus on yourself and live in your own life. I 100% believe in being a little delusional here and there. Yes, please. You've also got to behave, think, and practice living the life you want. Live it in the present. Just be a little delusional. Just already think. Approach things as if you already have them. Approach life as if you already have certain things. You already have your healing. You already have every single thing that you want. It's right in front of you. You must believe that everything that's happening is happening for your good. The universe is conspiring in your favor. And you've got to behave likewise. You've got to think likewise. The way you carry yourself has got to be like that. But in order to do that, you have to be so focused on your own journey and your own reality. That's why I say leave other people's business alone. do not want to escape into anyone else's life. Live in yours in every single way possible. It is so important to understand that the green you can easily see and envy in another person's life or other people's life is the very green that you can have in yours. But for that to happen, you have to nurture your grass, tend to it as intentionally as you can. And this is your life, and you are the one that has to live it. You are the one who knows your reality and understands how much you want the things you do. You are the one who has to face the challenges right in the eye. Of course, you're going to get tired, you're going to get annoyed, you're going to be frustrated, and even occasionally ready to give right up. But you'll realize that it is all worth fighting for, because that means you gave yourself a chance and showed yourself the support, and you are the one that made your grass the greenest. This is where we are ending this week's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope that you continue to fight for yourself and keep giving yourself all the chances in the world to make sure that you are working on yourself, that you are focusing on yourself, and that you are pouring into your own grass and into your own cup. You can listen to A Cupful on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Please don't forget to generously give this podcast a 5-star rating. You love it here, and what better way to show it than to rate it with 5 beautiful stars. Another way to show how much you enjoy the space is to share A Cupful as far and wide as you possibly can. Tell everyone about it, especially those who you know need it or would just enjoy listening to it, or both. Have a beautiful remainder of this week. Work when you need to, rest when you need to, take good care of your heart and mind, value your time and space, and don't forget to keep doing the things that fill your cup.